Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Hello and welcome on in. Friday edition Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart right here on the Rogue Media Sports Network, as we are live on YouTube every weekday, noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. I just got finished getting shaved in the dark. It is time to bring you a full gauntlet of Boston Sports Talk, your alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio, right here on the Wicked Boston Show. Today's show, we are going to go over a little Red Sox and a little Patriots. We're going to have a great guest on the show. Cam Rogers of the BLEAV Network is going to be joining us in about the middle of the program here to break down this Patriots-Ravens matchup on Sunday Night Football. Before we get to that, though, we are going to talk about this Red Sox offseason because it was we're kind of sold a bag of goods on how great this offseason was going to be. And I'll forgive Red Sox fans, myself included, because they should be doing that. They have trade assets. They have money to spend. And yet here we are, the week before Christmas, and Pete Alonso and Kyle Schwarber are both off the board. No one really knows who's up for the trading block here in Major League Baseball. And the Red Sox are sitting here with the Colorado Rockies as the only two teams to not sign a free agent in this offseason. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look over their top 4 priorities for the rest of the offseason now that Pete Alonso and Kyle Schwarber are gone. And then we will preview the Ravens-Patriots Sunday Night Football matchup with Cam Rogers. You will not want to miss that. That guy absolutely knows his stuff. But we start where we start. Pete Alonso, gone. Kyle Schwarber, gone. Still with us on God's green earth, but not playing for the Boston Red Sox. And so that's your top 2 guys on the free agent market that are off the board. And so now it comes time to reevaluate. What are the Red Sox priorities in this critical offseason? I'll give you the top 4 right now. 4th on the list, and one that I did not think I would be putting on here at the beginning of the offseason, but with time comes necessity. Number 4 on the list, sign Kazuma Okamoto from the NPB. There are 2 big names for NPB hitters looking to make that transition to the majors this year. They're Kazuma Okamoto and Munetaka Murakami. And one of those guys looks way more attractive to the Red Sox and Red Sox fans than the other, but they're both getting big buzz. And actually, Murakami is the one that is getting more of the buzz. Like, this is the Japanese Kyle Schwarber coming to play stateside in MLB. I mean, big, hulking slugger. It's a guy who set the NPB single-season home run record with 56 homers, broke Sadaharu O's record. That's a big deal. But he did it back in 2022 when he was a 22-year-old. And since then, we've seen some major red flags from Murakami. Okay, he's a horrible defender. He started his career, was drafted as a catcher, moved to third base, and now he projects to play first base in MLB, which in MLB terms means he's a designated hitter. Like, that's what he is. And the Red Sox need guys who can play in the field. They have a guy they signed out of the NPB who doesn't have a position, and that's Masataka Yoshida. But at least Murakami can hit homers, right? Yes, he can. But what he can't hit is fastballs. He's hit about 150 against velo higher than 93 miles an hour since the beginning of the 2024 season. Oof. He's got a strikeout rate that's 31% for his career. Oof. In a league where the movement and the velocity are better than it is in Japan, and the pitchers aren't pitching to contact as much as they do in Japan, that's going to be a major struggle for whatever team gets Murakami. Maybe he can end up being a Seiya Suzuki, and that's a good player. I really like Seiya Suzuki. I wish the Red Sox had gotten him, actually, at the time. But I don't know if that's really the risk that's worth taking for something that's going to cost you over $100 million when it comes to Murakami's contract and the posting that you will have to send to his team in Japan. That gets us back to the original guy that we're making this segment about, and that is Kazuma Okamoto. That's one that is way more attractive, I think, to the Red Sox and Red Sox fans. He doesn't have the same problems quite as much against velocity. He doesn't have the same problems purely making contact that Murakami has, but he is a few years older. Murakami's 26, Okamoto 29, more of a traditional first baseman, which Red Sox will take it. That's what they need. And his contract projection, though, is set to be a lot cheaper. 4 years for $64 million. And this guy can hit for some power. 30 home runs in 6 of his 11 seasons in NPB. Like, this guy's played a lot of professional baseball. Not at the level of MLB, sure, but a lot of professional baseball. Had a kind of injury-shortened season last year, only 77 games, OPS of 992 in those games. And the best part, dead pull right-handed hitter. Like, you are getting in a lot of ways the Japanese Pete Alonso if you sign Kazuma Okamoto. Now, that's not the guarantee of the Major League Baseball Pete Alonso, which you could have actually gotten if you had sacked up a little bit. But if that was a player that you like and you're willing to go with a 4-year deal for someone who's about to hit age 30 rather than a 5-year deal for someone who's gone over who's already past age 30, then Okamoto could be your solution there. I don't know if the Red Sox like either one of those scenarios, and it's a major risk going and getting someone from Japan. Obviously, we have seen some that have worked out tremendously. Yamamoto in the World Series, Imanaga's had a good career, Seiya Suzuki's had a good career, and of course, the big one, the biggest win ever from Japan is Shohei Ohtani. But for each one of those, you're getting some Sawamoras, some Yoshidas, some Kodai Sengas, somewhere in the middle. So this is a big risk to get anyone from Japan, but Okamoto, like that big hulking right-handed swing at Fenway Park, that will have Red Sox fans absolutely salivating. So number 4 on the list, sign Kazuma Okamoto. Clearly, it's not at the top of their priorities, but let's move closer to that. Number 3 top priority for the Red Sox in this offseason now, trade Jarren Duran to the Kansas City Royals for Cole Ragans. This one feels like a little bit of a weird one to bring up now from what we've learned in the last week, because the Royals have literally said that the price for Duran is too high, and they believe that that price is going to be giving up Cole Ragans. And so that's something that showed they didn't want to do this deal. But that does not mean this kind of deal is dead, because the good news is they want Jarren Duran. That has become clear. They've not been shy about that. There's real interest from Kansas City for Jarren Duran. And we know that team control that he's got for another couple of years becomes very sexy for a lot of other teams. Now, both these guys we're talking about here, Duran and Ragans, both have a handful of years at least of team control. So they're both relatively cheap. I think Duran is just under $8 million and Ragans is about $12 million. The other good news is this. The Red Sox have more to offer than Jarren Duran. And this is where I think kind of the discourse is really interesting around Duran in this offseason. We went over a lot of the trade packages that these publications are putting out, and they're all centered around just Jarren Duran going somewhere. And I think the Red Sox can put together a package with Duran and other players, specifically prospects, because that's how you're getting major league arms, and put together quite a good offer here. Like, you look at, I didn't like the Luis Perales trade that they just made for Jake Bennett, but if you had thrown him in a deal like this, I would have absolutely signed off for sending Luis Perales and Jarren Duran for someone like Cole Ragans. That said, you could sweeten the pot with someone like David Sandlin, another top 10 prospect in your system, right-handed pitcher, ready to make the jump to the major leagues, probably spent the last couple of months of last season in AAA, albeit struggling in AAA. But it's a guy who can still touch 100. He's got has a great strikeout per 9 rate, more than a strikeout per inning. And he's one guy that the Royals actually drafted. So that they would have some interest in David Sandlin. More likely, though, they're going to ask for someone like Peyton Tolley or Connolly Early. And that might be a stretch for the Red Sox. And I know a lot of Red Sox fans, that might feel like a bit of a stretch, but it's probably the price of doing business. That said, when we talked with Brian Burrows yesterday, he made the great point that the Red Sox are in a position that they can take a risk here on a trade because they've got a lot of tradable assets. They are ready to win, and they've still got a fairly solid rotation, even if they don't bring in a number 2. It's not good enough to win in the playoffs if you don't bring in a number 2. You're counting on Garrett Crochet to have another Cy Young caliber season. You're counting on Brian Bayo to repeat his career best season. And you've replaced Lucas Giolito with Sonny Gray. But if they aren't going to risk on free agents, risking on a trade like this would be the next best thing. Because let's also be clear here. Ragans is a risk as well. He's one of the most dominant pitchers in all of MLB in 2024 when he was healthy, when he finished 4th in the Cy Young voting that year. But the injuries are a concern. The guy's absolutely nasty when he's out there, but the injuries are definitely a concern. And outside of 2024, he's never pitched 100 innings in the major leagues. And this would be his 3rd organization. Can an experiment like that work 2 years in a row? You took a risk on Garrett Crochet last year, who hadn't pitched more than 164 innings, and that worked out. Can it work out 2 years in a row? Because when Ragans is out there, he's absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. 10.8 strikeouts per 9 in his last full season. And it was over 14 strikeouts per 9 in his 61 innings before he got hurt last year. So, I mean, the dude can absolutely shove. An absolute pig. Would be a perfect number 2 next to Garrett Crochet in a playoff series. Speaking of that particular role, number 2 behind Garrett Crochet in a playoff series. Number 2 on the list, trade for Joe Ryan in a deal at a package that probably is highlighted by Jarren Duran or Wilyer Abreu. Now, I know that this has come up a lot. Some Red Sox fans are sick of hearing about it because it didn't work out at the trade deadline. That does not mean this deal is done. But it is starting to get weird, this whole situation. Like, I think Joe Ryan is an absolutely perfect fit for the Red Sox and for this rotation. His swing and miss stuff is still there. Right-handed pitcher, to complement your lefty ace in Garrett Crochet. Just love the prospects that he brings with him to this organization. But this is weird because nobody knows what Minnesota is doing. Like, that's what's kind of held everything up. Like, the Twins were clearly packing it in at the trade deadline last year. They traded 10 guys, and none of them were Joe Ryan, their best tradable asset. That didn't have a no trade clause like Byron Buxton, but we'll get to him in a second. So, like, clearly they're not going to contend in the next 2 years at least. So if you're blowing this thing up, why not trade Joe Ryan? Michael King has gone back to San Diego. Dylan Cease is going to Toronto. I just don't think there's any team in the market for a 30-year-old starter that can offer as good a package as the Red Sox can. Like, you're talking either Jarren Duran or Wilyer Abreu. Guys who are cost-controlled major leaguers, successful major leaguers. Right? You're talking about a guy in Duran who finished top 10 in the MVP voting in 24. Wilyer Abreu, 2 Gold Gloves in 2 seasons, and a power hitter to boot. Like, that is a really attractive offer right off the bat. And then apparently the Red Sox balked at that in July, going for either one of those guys because they were in a stretch run. Now you have time to replace them if you actually go and send one of them out right now. So you get an everyday outfielder with team control, and then you're looking at someone like Peyton Tolley or Connolly Early. And I think the Red Sox would be more than willing to trade one of those guys if Joe Ryan is the return. And both of those pitchers have shown real promise in the major leagues already. They're not just prospects. They've gone to the major leagues and they've pitched well. And here's another thing. If you want to get really crazy, if you want to get so insane you're about to hang up the phone, hear me out here. You can trade Jarren Duran and Wilyer Abreu. One of those 2 pitchers, Connolly Early or Peyton Tolley, and someone like Christian Campbell or Marcelo Meyer to get Joe Ryan and Byron Buxton. Buxton is apparently willing to waive his no-trade clause because the Twins are not contending, and he's 31 years old. And he's coming off maybe his best season in the majors. He's coming off a 35 home run season. It would be absolutely massive, show-stopping kind of stuff. But it does help out both sides in incredible fashion. Both teams win that trade if everyone stays healthy. More likely, though, it's just going to be for Joe Ryan. And he's still the best guy on the market in terms of a number 2 starter who's actually on the market. You're not getting Tarek Skubal. And I don't think they're paying for Ranger Suarez. So if you're looking for that number 2 starter, the most likely option would be Joe Ryan from Minnesota, which takes us to our number 1 priority for the Red Sox in this offseason. And that, of course, is re-sign Alex Bregman. Don't overthink it. That is your number 1 priority right now. And apparently the market has heated up more than you thought it would a week ago. The Diamondbacks sounds like have real interest there, and they're willing to go 6 years. And that is frightening for Red Sox fans. If someone is actually realistically offering 6 years, he is going to that team. He is not going, the Red Sox are not going to sign him for a 6-year deal. Whether that's right or wrong, they are not going to do it. But don't overthink this. He should be your number 1 priority here. He is still a Gold Glove defender at third base. Greatly improves your infield defense. He was a terrific hitter when he was on the field last year in 2 different long spurts before the injury and then right after the injury. He's still a guy who has the most postseason experience, not only on your team, but of pretty much anyone in Major League Baseball. He's played over 100 postseason games. He's been to the World Series 4 times. He is a great presence, veteran presence in your clubhouse for a guy like Roman Anthony. He is your manager's favorite player. So it really doesn't go any farther than this. Like, we've talked about Alex Bregman ad nauseum. All right. Like, I don't need to get in this full detailed report like I need to with Okamoto or someone like that. Alex Bregman. We loved Alex Bregman, and he would be a terrific fit once again in the middle of this order. And more importantly, if you don't re-sign Alex Bregman, it sends another clear message to your fan base. And despite how much we love Roman Anthony and how much we love Garrett Crochet, if you're sending another message like that to your fan base, they're not going to be around for long. They don't want to put up with this shit anymore. And it is shit. It is total bullshit. Everyone that's contending in Major League Baseball is running their organization differently than the Red Sox are. And if they don't re-sign Alex Bregman, which is no foregone conclusion, like they tried to make it out to be a couple of weeks ago, like it's no foregone conclusion that you're going to re-sign him because his wife likes Boston. And if they don't do that, you are once again sending a message to your fans that's saying, hey, everyone sees how winning baseball clubs are running their organization. We don't want to do it that way. Hope you understand. Hope you're willing to pay over $100 to just to get into our ballpark. I don't think it'll be the case. I don't think it will be. I don't think people will be interested in paying the highest ticket prices in all of Major League Baseball if they don't re-sign Alex Bregman. But let me know what you think. What are the priorities for the Red Sox, specifically the players that are priorities for the Red Sox in this offseason? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you live on YouTube every weekday, noon Eastern time, and then we're available wherever you get your podcasts as well. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio, it's right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. When we come back, very special guest. It is a cam-to-cam connection. Cam Rogers of the BLEAV Network joins the show, a Ravens expert and New England native. He is going to tell us exactly why the Ravens are going to implement a bold new plan against the Patriots on Sunday Night Football and why Baltimore will come out victorious in this one. We'll have a little pushback on that. That's coming up next on the Wicked Boston Show. Holiday football has arrived. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, the unexpected can turn game day into payday. And don't forget, DraftKings has your back with early exit. If your player goes down in the first half, you still get paid in cash. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code CAMSHOW. That's code CAMSHOW. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins instantly. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-878-977777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio limited time offer.
Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.
A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You like.
Welcome back. Wicked Boston Show here on the Rogue Media Sports Network, coming at you live on YouTube every weekday, noon Eastern time. And then, of course, wherever you get your podcasts as well, your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke behind the glass. We are talking Patriots. Massive bounce back opportunity for the Patriots on Sunday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens. But looking at it from the other side, you think it's a big game for New England. It's a pretty big game for those Ravens as well. If they win the last 3, they are in the postseason. And one of the guys who's very confident that's going to happen, we welcome him in right now. Cam Rogers of the BLEAV Network and Fox 5 DC, covering the Ravens. A big-time Ravens fan. He's part of the team. We've all heard it. I use we around here as well, Cam. Yeah. Just a little Cam to Cam connection. I know this is always a big one for you. Patriots, Ravens. That's been a big one for you for a long time.
What's up, Cam? Good to be with you. Yeah, I do love a good Ravens-Patriots Sunday Night Football matchup. I call it Patriots Week. Why do I do that? It's a branding exercise because I'm from New Hampshire, born and raised, right? Grew up with David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, Kevin Millar, and then Tom Brady and Vrabel, all the things. I defected from all of that and became a Baltimore fan, which is something we can get into in a little bit. But just imagine me walking the halls in high school during the Flacco Brady era, right? Decked out in Ravens gear. I loved the attention. As you can tell, I'm a big fan of attention. And so it was always fun during those years. Then we found that lull, right? The Patriots weren't as good. They had the Cam Newton time, Brian Hoyer, etc. I think we're back to maybe some sort of rivalry here between Drake May and Lamar Jackson. It's going to be a fun game.
And at least for now, the expectations are, well, going into the season, we're on the Ravens side anytime you have a 2-time MVP at quarterback. You know, it's funny you say that, Cam, because we did have a guy I went to high school with, Rockland High School, and he was a year or two younger than me. And this story is going to make me kind of sound like an asshole. But we didn't know his name, but he wore a Joe Flacco jersey like twice a week, like the whole year.
That's great.
And so he just became known as Flacco. Like, I don't even know if he was a Ravens fan, but he had a Flacco jersey. And so he just became
quarter of the season. To be expected. I was very down on him from a fantasy football perspective, much like I was with Saquon Barkley. These guys are hitting that point, right, where you're going to see some diminishing returns at that position. So I think the defense was a big issue. And when you get behind so early in a football game, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, I don't want Lamar Jackson sitting back there patting the football, throwing it 45 to 50 times. We're not built that way. And I talked about it on Nesson today. It's like, well, we have to get ahead early, take our shots early, get ahead 14-0, 10-3, something along those lines. So we can, as you say, stay on schedule as an offense. Otherwise, if this becomes like a shootout sort of situation, not good for Baltimore. I am impressed that they did rip off that win streak. They certainly needed it. And then we have a really bizarre, Cam, Thursday night game at home against Cincinnati when they were minus 370 favorites on the money line and get blown out. I mean, I have not drunk red wine faster before, but I was drinking it hard that night because I was like, what is even happening? How are we losing? And then we lose to Pittsburgh at home. And then I'm like, is the season over? And then I get sucked back in after last week because that defense, to your point, really bounced back. The defense over the course of the last, I believe it's like 5 or 6 weeks, really, really good. Points per game, passing yards allowed. I know you got to look at the opponents. I get it, but you play who's on your schedule, right? I know a lot of Patriots haters out there are like, look at that schedule. But again, we talked about it off air. These guys are professionals. Every opponent is tough. It's the NFL. So at the end of the day, I'm happy with where we are right now, meaning we control our own destiny, and players love that too. You win out, you win the division, you host a playoff game, one at least. Now, the road getting there, not easy. New England, then Green Bay, and then it's Pittsburgh again. So it's all in front of them, but it's going to be an uphill climb.
I want to go to what you said in the middle there about like this opportunity of like needing to get ahead. And you kind of take the external stuff too, right? Last home game, you know, it's a night game. People are going to be buzzing there. You've got to win the last 3 to control it yourself. So do you think this is the prime opportunity for this Ravens offense, which can sometimes be methodical, to take shots early in the game? You know, you've got a team that's coming off a big loss and potentially put them down early and kind of start stepping on their throat a little bit very early in the game.
Yeah, I think you have to catch the Patriots off guard a little bit here because I would assume they think the Ravens are going to hammer the football at that front seven, try to establish the line of scrimmage, which is typically the Ravens' formula. But I think you sort of shock them a little bit in the early going. I talked about this too earlier in the week. If you win the coin toss, typically John Harbaugh defers. Would not be a bad idea to get the ball first and just see what you can do. Some play action, shots down the field to Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers. These guys are talented. Bateman coming back into the lineup this week, it seems. And then you have the underneath stuff to Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. Then in a blink of an eye, you could be up 14-0. The Patriots defense last week seems a little suspect, but I do look at the totality of the season. Pretty good D. You got Christian Gonzalez back there. We'll see if Spillane comes back. I'm not sure if he practiced today, but that front seven, I assume, will bounce back here this week. And so with that, take your shots early, open up that front seven for New England, because if they have to play coverage, then they have to devote more players back there. That will open up the run game. And then you can really impose your will with a lead. That is the Ravens winning formula in this game. I also kind of want to lean on the narrative that the Ravens have been a thorn in the Patriots side many, many times, but you know, that's kind of the Flacco days. So maybe not as applicable here, but yeah, I think that's the way to go if you're the Ravens.
For sure. I've been thinking all week of Lamar in 2019, and I know how different all of this is, right? Lamar and the Patriots, both very much different from that time. But, you know, this Patriots run defense, I'll give you a stat. The last 5 games, they're 31st in the league in EPA per rush against. So at the beginning, historically good, but it's really taken a toll. Milton Williams out, still not going to be in this game, can't be reactivated from IR until afterwards. Doesn't look like Robert Spillane's going to play, one of their best run defenders. So, you know, looking at that for a Todd Monken offense, you know, is that kind of like, are they salivating down there right now?
They could be, but here's the thing, and I am excited that Lamar Jackson seems healthier. But for the course of maybe the month prior, there was no real deception with the Ravens run game. What do I mean by that? Well, why the Ravens are so good despite a below average run blocking offensive line is that you have to defend two runners at once all the time, meaning Lamar and Derrick Henry. And when Lamar doesn't have that threat of his legs, all the players can crash in on Derrick. And we saw that week in and week out. Now, he looked pretty good last week, so I feel better about his chances to be an effective runner here this week against New England. And so they could be salivating at this opportunity here. And it'll be interesting to see how they start this game. The Ravens have gotten away from the run time to time. And maybe you're overthinking it if you're Todd Monken. Maybe there is some decent logic to it. I don't know. But a lot of times it did not work. I think it could work here this week as far as, again, starting with the pass and then going to the run. But that stat you read me about the last 5 weeks, what's a bigger sample size, lends me to believe maybe this is more so of a trend and not just a one-off last week against Buffalo. So
yeah, and part of that again is the health, and they're not going to have the health this week. And to your point in there, like part of that against Buffalo, James Cook's having an awesome year. He runs for 107 all over him, but then again, Josh Allen ran for 45. And that's the threat you're talking about. You've got like one of the best running backs in the leagues, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson when he's fully healthy and ready to go. So that does kind of give a different look to things. Flipping it on the other side of the ball for the Ravens, you talked about, it's starting to find its rhythm. I'd say it found its rhythm quite a bit last week. I mean, had Joe Burrow in hell after a really good couple of weeks.
Does Joe even want to play football anymore? He's had some weird press conferences.
Man, I've never seen anything quite like that. In the NBA and the NHL, we see some stuff like that. But a quarterback, like in the NFL, when they never move, right? That is why this game might have done something to him too.
Hey, look at Andrew Luck out of nowhere, right?
No options, man. He just said, "I'm not going anywhere else. I'm done." That could be Burrow. I mean, Burrow looks like sad boy hours a lot to begin with. And can you really blame him?
Well, you got to be frustrated with that front office, but that's a whole other show, right? Yeah. But for the defense with the Ravens, to your point, what you were getting at, yeah, absolutely. They have really turned it around of late. Draymond Jones is coming off one of the better weeks as a pass rusher this season collectively with the Ravens. And so I think that was one thing too that I didn't mention earlier that we were struggling with. The pass rush was pretty much non-existent during that losing streak. And so when you can't get pressure on a quarterback, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Aiden O'Connell. If you have time, corners cannot hang on that long to defend these talented wide receivers. And somebody is going to be open. And that was the case early in the season with Baltimore. But if you can get that pass rush going a little bit, I think the Ravens can really its offense. But I'm not saying blitz the kid, because the numbers against the blitz for Drake May, really, really good. And it's impressive considering how young he is and he's effective in those spots. So listen, it's easier said than done, but get pressure with four guys. Try not to blitz, play coverage underneath, kind of like what the Raiders did in week 1. I think you can learn something from their defensive game plan. They had lane integrity every time on that front line, meaning you kept that smile, that pocket around Drake May, not allowing him to move and get out of there and create, right? He's so good at that deep ball, creating off script. They played a lot of zone in the back end, and they kept everything in front of them. And that was effective in that week 1 win. Can the Ravens do something like that here this week? I think that would be a really smart thing for them. And then hopefully Draymond Jones can have another game this week like he did last week. But again, I would not get blitz crazy against Drake May. He will crush us in the back end, I think.
I like that answer, but I do like a good Aiden O'Connell reference even better.
I know, that just like popped in my head.
I love when we can sneak that in there. He's definitely a top 2 quarterback with the last name O'Connell. That is for sure.
There's no doubt.
Firmly in the top 2, I think. Looking at, we talked about some of the Patriots vulnerabilities, right? That run defense over the last couple of weeks. Not that this is something you could just game plan for, but Drake May down the stretch did not have a good game on Sunday against the Bills. And it might have been something you've already talked about with Lamar's limited ability, but what do you think is the most vulnerable position for the Ravens this week?
Yeah, on the defense, offense, or just collectively?
Any one of them. Like, where do you
Yeah.
think the Patriots can really get at him, get after him?
It's interesting. I think the secondary is still concerning me. There's been a lot of moving parts back there. Kyle Hamilton has been in and out with injuries. We still have overall some young players back there with Starks and Nate Wiggins. They still make mistakes. I'm still seeing too many coverage mistakes back there, meaning not good communication. That is so frustrating for a defensive coordinator. If you're Kyle Orr, you got to be really PO'd about that. And so I think that the secondary, if it has its breakdowns, excuse me, Zach Orr, by the way, DC for the Ravens, it has its breakdowns, then that's when the Patriots can smell blood in the water a little bit. That's why I think it's so important to get a pass rush going with their front four and not blitz and play coverage, because I think that's the ultimate formula at stopping this offense. The Patriots have to have a sour taste in their mouth. I talked about this as well, where it's like, if they beat the Bills, I would feel better about them losing this week against the Ravens because you can afford it. You're on the road against Baltimore. You're an underdog. You kind of have the division wrapped up. I think if they won last week, they would have wrapped it up. Yeah, so it's like kind of reasonable that they would lose in this spot. But now, after that collapse, it makes me wonder if they're going to have a sour taste and really try to get after Baltimore. It is interesting, though, that the Ravens at 500 are favored by 3. Sometimes Vegas, and I'm a betting guy, gives you an answer, kind of gives you a clue. There's something there.
Something there. Something there. By the way, to go off your reference from another answer, Zach Orr, definitely the second top 2, let's say, top 2 guys with the last name Orr to be talked about on the Wicked Boston show. At least in the top 2. Last thing I want to get to you about this game and the Ravens looking forward. You mentioned it. They're the favorites this week. Home game, desperate team with a lot of talent. And then you look at Green Bay, at Pittsburgh in a potentially winner-take-all game. Is this week the easiest game for the Ravens?
I think situationally it is, because we have some blueprint about the struggles with the Patriots on the defensive side, especially from last week. Try to exploit that. And we'll see what happens between Green Bay and Chicago. If Green Bay loses to Chicago as a favorite, I'm going to be scared about playing Green Bay next week. Listen, it's all relative. It's the NFL. But yeah, I would probably say this is the easiest, which is hilarious to say because this is an 11-win Patriots team who could be the number 1 seed. But I'll throw some betting numbers at you. Lamar Jackson as a favorite of -3 or less, 28, 14, and 1 against the spread. That's 67%. Teams 500 or below versus a double-digit win team, 16 and 9 ATS when favored, 64%. Ravens 14, 3 and 1 ATS versus winning teams in primetime since 2010. So there's some data there, smaller samples, but some data that tells me that, okay, this is a good spot. This is the right side, as they say in betting, against the Patriots. The Packers scare me a lot. And then the Steelers, I can't get a hold of this team. They are so Jekyll and Hyde. And I think old man Rodgers may show his age there in week 18. So, yeah, I would say the Steelers, just because of the knowledge that they have of the Ravens, worry me a little bit. So, yeah, I guess it is New England by default, the easiest matchup here.
I can't wait to clip some of those tips for my future father-in-law who I'll be watching the game with on Sunday.
Oh, congratulations.
Love that. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if he knows it yet. Just kidding. We aren't. It's all real. Cam Rogers of the BLEAV Network talking Ravens, Patriots, Sunday night football. Cam, I cannot let you leave yet without knowing how a kid from the great Granite State, the beautiful town of Nashua, New Hampshire, becomes a Baltimore Ravens fan in the midst of the greatest dynasty in the history of sports happening right in his backyard.
Makes zero sense, doesn't it? But I was a contrarian as a kid growing up. I loved attention. I loved going, still do, obviously, loved going the other way when everybody went one way. It was Bush v. Gore in 2000, right? I wanted Ralph Nader, the third party candidate. I was 6 years old. I had no idea what I was saying, right? So that's the backstory. And my favorite player at the time was Kevin Millar in baseball, big baseball guy growing up. And Millar went to the Orioles. So I followed him to the Orioles, became an O's fan. And to stay consistent, I was like, well, the Baltimore Ravens, why not? This was in 2008. Flacco and Harbaugh, they're in the AFC Championship against the Steelers. They end up losing Flacco's rookie year. But I was like, well, they're good. This is fun. I'm going to stick with the Ravens as well. And that's how it all started. That was part of the genesis of going to Maryland as well. Like, it just all fell into place for me. I'm in D.C. now, and I owe it all to Kevin Millar. Here's a quick story for you. I worked with a former LSU quarterback. He was on BLEAV for a while, Josh Booty, who's best friends with Kevin Millar. He got me on the phone with Kevin, and I explained all of that to him. He's on the golf course. He goes, dude, I'm going to sink this birdie for you. You're the man. And it's hilarious because I'm pretty sure he's a New England sports fan, right? Yeah, but it's just like, I can't get out of it. I'm stuck here. This is where I'm at in life. So
that is so incredible. Like, maybe Cam was way ahead of all of us on Red Sox ownership, like 15, 20 years ahead of it all. He's like, screw these guys. I'm following the players. And I just think it's like, you know, we had that viral video of the Jets fan, the kid becoming a Colts fan because he likes Sauce Gardner. Like, there'll be plenty of Lakers fans in Dallas, you know, talking like this 15 years later about Luka Doncic. Cam Rodgers got there from Kevin Millar. That's unbelievable.
In 2005, 2006, I think he went in 06 to the Orioles. And by the way, Cam, you know, you're eventually going to have kids. I'm eventually going to have kids. I'm going to give my kids, much like my parents did, free will to be fans of whatever they want. I'm not going to put a Ravens jersey.
They really thought it was going to be a phase.
I'm not putting a jersey on my infant. They can choose whatever they want when they grow up, all right? Because I was able to.
Oh, you're a better man than I. My kids will not have a choice, much like I did not. I was thinking like maybe middle child syndrome. My middle child older brother was a Yankee fan. Years just to piss us all off. That was a phase. Cam Rodgers is not a phase, man. And he went into it. Maryland, now DC, Ravens.
I'll tell you what, man. If I'm into something, I am into it.
I gotta have some respect for that. I gotta do. I have to. I gotta have some respect for that. And I know what you're talking about on Patriots week because, you know, when I was living in Texas, anytime they played the Cowboys or the Texans, not a rival, you know, by any stretch, but man, did I feel good when they beat those teams and I was living down there.
Which was often.
Yes, it did happen a lot. In fact, it happened twice my freshman year at Baylor. It happened twice. They beat the Cowboys and the Texans, both in Texas, and I didn't get to go. But anyway, last thing. You love throwing out score predictions because you're a betting guy. What do you got for this week? This Sunday night? Not to get confused, I'm talking about the Patriots-Ravens game.
By the way, this was not originally Sunday Night Football. This got flexed in by the NFL. I was so happy when I heard it because the game was originally 1 p.m. I'm like, no way, this is Ravens-Patriots. I think originally Sunday night was Miami and Cincinnati. Thank God they moved that. Score prediction. Ravens 29, Patriots 24. I think the scoring ways continue for the Ravens. The Patriots will have theirs. So if you're betting this game, Ravens cover, and then I like the over in this matchup. Ravens need this a lot more than the Patriots do, Cam, and I think they get it done.
And if that happens, there's one young man in Nashua, New Hampshire, who's really happy.
The only one.
The rest of his family isn't. The rest of his neighbors aren't, but Cam Rodgers is feeling good. Cam Rodgers from the BLEAV Network. Check it out. He's got the best betting tips. Like that is something I've been following all season long. Cam, appreciate your time coming on here, and the best to you and yours in this holiday season. And let's hope for a tie because you've been so nice.
Yeah, let's do a tie. I'm here for that.
Take that.
Thanks, Cam. Appreciate the time.
There he goes, Cam Rodgers of BLEAV Network. Special thank you to Cam. Special thank you to all of you tuning in. Let me know your score prediction in the comment section below. Of course, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps me keep my job. I appreciate you guys finding us on YouTube live every weekday, noon Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on the Wicked Boston Show, and we will see you on Monday.
Relax with Hemp Delicious, Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.